So, you're wanting to get better at PvP in the Isle Legacy. Tired of seeing this screen? Well, in this video I will give you many helpful tips and tricks that can increase your victory rate and give you an edge over your opponent with knowledge. First up, I'll go over the basics to Isle Legacy PvP. Topics to learn about to be viable in PvP right off the bat are turn radiuses, double bites, tail nipping, camera angles, sniping, healing ticks, and fall damage resistance. And at the end of the video, I will show various tricks that can help you in specific matchups and scenarios. First off, if you are very new to the game, turn radiuses are all varied depending on the dinosaur. Not every dinosaur turns at the same speed. Your sprint and ambush turn are typically the widest turns, with some exceptions. Your trot turn is your second widest turn, and your Z turn is your tightest turn. Some dinosaurs turn very quickly, while others turn slowly. With enough practice, you can master when you need to use a specific turn on your dinosaur at key moments in fights. For example, in Giga 1v1s, you will use a variation of your Z turn, trot turn, and sprint turn to get the specific angles you are looking for to maintain a bite lead on your opponent. Another example is to only activate Z-turn as Carno versus Acro when you are on its ass to ride. Using your trot when you are walking near an Acro as Carno is essential for escaping faster because when Carno has Z-turn activated, it takes about 3 seconds to start running away, while with trot active it only takes about 1 second to run away. Yet, its trot turn is too wide to ride an Acro. Only Z-turn will be tight enough to keep you from getting bit or losing the correct positioning. Knowing when to activate Z-turn or trot is essential to every single matchup. Double biting is one of the first things you will learn about, especially if you enter a deathmatch server to practice. Every single dinosaur, except a few with very quick attack DPS, has a period where their biting or smacking hitbox is active after their initial attack animation is done. Thus, you can attack early and drag the damage hitbox into your opponent before attacking once again on top of their actual model. By taking advantage of the hitbox window, you will get in more damage on your opponent than they will you. But be careful, if you miss your first bite and your double, they may get extra damage onto you, leaving you at a disadvantage. This is very common in Rex 1v1s. Every single dinosaur has a different length of time their hitbox will be active after the animation. Here are some examples. Rex hitbox is active 3 seconds after its animation, Giga hitbox is active 2 seconds after its animation, and Carno hitbox is active 4 seconds after its animation. Once you master doubles, you can eventually learn how to do triples. But typically only faster DPS dinosaurs are capable of pulling those off in a shorter time period while taking minimal damage. For example, Spino triples and Trike triples. Another very important aspect of Legacy PvP is your camera angle and tail nips. Most dinosaurs, especially carnivores, typically bite downwards when they do an attack. These bites may not reach your opponent due to their height. In order to reach your opponent's tail or clipping their sides, you need to angle your camera to turn your face to reach them better. When biting tails, depending on the height, you will want to look up. By looking up, you are able to inflict more damage onto them much faster than you would if you were looking down and missing their tail. For example, if a Rex is running away from their Giga, looking up and biting at their tail could be the key to damaging them before they gain enough distance to turn around for a counterattack. Those tail hits can be the determining factor behind whether or not you win or lose. Another example is angling your camera to your sides to turn your head left and right and clip dinosaurs' bodies or to land a drag on a rider. For example, clipping a Giga's side as a Rex by angling your camera instead of looking down and biting. Also, side note, I see a few players, mainly newer players, state that not biting increases the damage of your attacks or other values, which is false. What most people are referring to is either sniping or looking up to get hits on places that are out of reach if you were to bite down, like tails. Here is an example of not biting. And here's an example of biting while looking straight down. It is the same number of bites. Angling your camera upwards to get a bite on something above you or to point your hitbox at a specific angle is not nod biting. This is nod biting. Sniping is by far the most broken aspect of Legacy PvP, and I have yet to see it executed in the same manner in any other dinosaur game. But it is essential you know about it, how to do it and how to avoid getting sniped if you are to be competitive at Legacy PvP. Right off the bat, the left side hitbox on dinosaurs is not broken. Both the left and right hitbox are actually very accurate. You will see some people say it is large, but that is not the case. In actuality, every single dinosaur has a tiny chunk of their model about half their body length outwards from their left knee. When that little chunk of your body lines up with the bite of another dinosaur, you can get sniped. It is the reason why so many people assume that the left side hitbox is large or broken. In reality, it is a chunking flaw with the models. Due to this flaw though, riders can be countered. If snipes did not exist, riders would never die. There are specific angles you will typically be sniped in, depending on the height and size of your dinosaur. By using snipes, you can gain the upper hand in a 1v1 or even in a matchup where you are outnumbered, like facing a Gigapara as Rex. Just know that if you miss your snipes, it can leave you vulnerable for attack, or you could be a bite behind your opponent. This is very bad in a 1v1 situation against the same species of dinosaur, since it takes the same number of bites to kill each other. Snipes are high risk, but high reward. Practice them and use them wisely. In the Isle Legacy, your dinosaur will get a healing tick every single minute since the moment you spawned into the server. It does not matter if you are damaged or not, you will still get a healing tick. In almost every single matchup, timing your healing ticks will give you a huge edge over your opponent. For example, if you are facing a Sugo as an aloe, you can trade with the Sugo and sit down as you are about to get your healing tick and instantly heal the maximum amount with minimal sitting. Another example of this is Dilo versus Sarah. Dilo heals bleed very quickly, along with its screens, while Sarah does not. You can drop a Sarah much faster as Dilo by knowing when to sit and gain your maximum heal. Using this method will also allow you to control your fights much more efficiently and place loads of pressure on your opponent. To time your healing ticks, I suggest using a timer on your PC or phone and have it running so you can see when you need to sit. The moment your loading screen hits 100% as you're entering a server, that is when you should start it. Or, you can damage yourself and start the timer right after you heal once. Also, your hunger and water will determine how much you heal. The more food and water you have, the greater your healing amount will be per tick. Fall damage resistance is a very niche kind of knowledge, but it would have saved me so many times in survival if I had learned about it when I was a newer player. Every single dinosaur has a height limit to their fall damage. Some dinosaurs could trip over a pebble and break their leg or die, and some can leap off cliffs and be completely fine. Some examples of dinosaurs with bad fall damage resistance are Giga, Rex, and Spino. Some examples of dinosaurs with good fall damage resistance are Carno, Shant, and Dilo. By taking advantage of your fall damage resistance, you can escape an opponent or matchup that leaves you at a huge disadvantage. For example, as a Shant, you can use the small cliffs at Great Falls to escape an aloe looking to get an easy ride on your ass. Another example is to use the cliffs to get behind apexes that are pressing their asses to them as Dilo. Due to your insane fall damage resistance, you can typically leap off without worry and stack more bleed or get another ride in. While this knowledge is very niche, it can also be very essential in many survival fights and potentially save your life. And with the 5 main aspects of Isle Legacy PvP covered, here are some equally important honorable mentions that can help you improve your chances of winning in PvP.